Boxing is flying right now, and there's a lot to talk about. But today we're going to focus on Deontay Wilder's possible return, and also Moses Itauma calling out Joseph Parker, and Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev card. Let's start with Deontay Wilder. Turki Al-Sheikh has said that he'll give him another opportunity, and I just don't know why. Because his last two performances have been terrible, putting it politely. So I don't know why he wants to give him another opportunity. I don't really understand why he needs to continue. He's had a good career. I think he should call it a day. And like I say, his last two performances don't really deserve another opportunity. When he fought Joseph Parker, he fought like a scared man, a shell of his former self. Not the scary Deontay Wilder that we're all used to seeing. And when he fought Zhilei Zhang in Saudi Arabia, I was there with the pain game, and it was the same again. I seen him live at the press conference in the public workout, and he was screaming the old bomb squad. And I thought, maybe the old Wilder may be back. And then he was doing all this fancy pad work, giving it the old Michael Jackson spins. And then we're all seeing how that turned out, so unfortunately I just think he's past it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps support the channel. When he first started boxing, it was about his daughter, his unwell daughter, to pay for treatment. But now he's achieved that, there's just no reason. There's no reason to have that same desire, because before, that drove his desire. Even if he does have some level of desire, it's just too late in the day. He's 38. So I don't think he's got time to rebuild. He's never been the most technical fighter. In fact, very limited. He's always been about the power. It's not like he can just go back to the drawing board and work on other areas in the game. Unfortunately, it's just too late for him. I just think the fights with Tyson Fury just took too much. Too much that he can't get back. I think Turki Al-Sheikh just loves the excitement he used to bring. Unfortunately, those days are gone. Or maybe he just thinks he deserves it. But in my opinion, the ship sailed. Moses Itauma calls out Joseph Parker. I think he's a great talent. I think he's one of the best talents in world boxing. When he first turned pro, I wasn't sure. I thought he was too young, and I wasn't sure he was big enough. But fight after fight, he's just destroyed them and made me a believer. But calling out Joseph Parker, I think it's just too soon. I say it time and time again, matchmaking in boxing is key. We're all seeing what happened to Jared Anderson versus Martin Bakole. A good, talented heavyweight put in with a good, mature, experienced fighter too soon. And I'm just worried that the same thing is going to happen to Moses. Because Joseph Parker is a great fighter, very experienced, and he's been in there with the best of the best. And we're not talking about a fighter that's past his best, because Joseph Parker is still in his prime. For Joseph Parker, the fight would be a big step backwards. Really, he should be in a position to be fighting for a world title. He's had two good wins against Wilder and Zhilei Zhang, but still he's had no opportunity. He's been sidelined and left on the bench. Because he's from New Zealand, and New Zealand don't really have a big boxing fan base, and he trains out of the UK. And I just think the boxing world haven't really warmed to his style, because he's more of a slick boxer. And in the heavyweight division, they're like the big punchers. They want to see knockouts. Moses Itauma was in Tyson Fury's training camp for Usyk, and so was Joseph Parker. So he's obviously seen him and maybe even sparred with him and maybe had success and thinks he can beat Joseph Parker. Sparring and actually fighting are two different things. And I think Joseph Parker is just too experienced or know too many tricks for Moses right now. And I do respect him for calling for the fight, because he's made it clear in the past that he wants to become the youngest ever heavyweight champion of the world, breaking Mike Tyson's record. You know, he's got that southpaw advantage, he's got good skill, good movement, good defense, he's got decent power, and he's also got Ben Davison, who I think is a great coach to help him develop. He's set his goals high, he's reaching for greatness. You don't reach greatness just doing the ordinary. Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev. This is a fight I can't wait for. I was gutted the first time when it had to be postponed because Beterbiev got injured. I'm just hoping that Beterbiev is fully recovered so that this fight lives up to expectation. For the real boxing fans, it doesn't get much better than this. I feel as if the casual fans have been sleeping on this fight. I just think it's not been getting the real hype that it should have been. I think it's because of the Eastern European way that can come across a little bit serious. Unfortunately, Bivol and Beterbiev aren't the most charismatic.
Is this the biggest challenge so far?
We'll see.
But if you know your boxing, you know that this is a great fight. And I will be doing a deeper dive closer to the time. And what's baffled me, some people have been disappointed in the undercard. It just shows that Turki Al-Sheikh has done such a good job, because we had the 5 versus 5, which was an amazing card. You know, now that the public are getting greedy because he has set the standard so high that they're disappointed by this card. The simple fact is, not every fight card is going to beat the next. The boxing fans are so critical, but it's a good thing, because people are only critical about things that they care about. So it's all good. The co-main event, Stevenson versus Joe Cordina. Joe Cordina is my old GB teammate from the amateur days. He's a great guy and a 2-time world champion. Despite him losing in his last fight, he's a great fighter. He was caught on the break. The referee said break. He dropped his hands and his opponent threw a punch, and he got caught and he never really recovered. Stevenson is considered a pound-for-pound fighter and a multi-weight world champion across 3 different weight divisions. I mean, how can you be disappointed with that fight? It's a great fight, and I was surprised my old teammate has left his trainer, Tony Sims, because Tony Sims took Joe Cordina to being a 2-time world champion, and he's now training with Ben Davison, who I think's a great trainer. I've said it time and time again, so it's not a bad move. I was just surprised because Tony Sims has been great for Joe Cordina, but from what I've heard, it's not personal, he just needed a change. Joe's also got familiar faces at Ben Davison's camp, all mates from Team GB, the likes of AJ, Pat McCormack and Luke McCormack. So it'll be like old times. Another one of my GB teammates, Fraser Clarke, and he's got his rematch with Fabio Wardley. The first fight was great, a typical British title fight, all action, absolute war. And I'm sure the second fight won't disappoint. The only complaint that I've got, it's a British title fight. It should be held in Britain. But from the fighter's point of view, I know they'll be getting well paid on a Riyadh card. So I understand. And to wrap things up, Eubank Jr returns fighting Kamil Zeramata. Eubanks has been calling out the likes of Canelo, Triple G and Terence Crawford. So this fight is a little bit of an anticlimax for me. I feel like he's just wasted his career, being so inactive, chasing the big money fights. He had a good win against Liam Smith last year, then nothing. He does a lot of talking, but not a lot of fighting. Fighting regular gets you opportunities. Fights are like springboards, so he needs to stay active. I feel like he wasted his peak years. He's obviously got the ability and the talent. You know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. His dad's name alone created a lot of opportunities and gave him a great start in boxing. And don't get me wrong, he had to then go and back it up. I just don't feel he used it as good as he could have. I'll be taking a deeper dive into the card closer to the time. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and please like and subscribe and go watch this video next.